Is it? Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to Empowered Hearts. We are episode 38 today. My apologies. Last week I sounded like Steve Urkel, like Pipsqueak, like just my voice was gone. I was
Yeah,
like,
nothing.
I can't even try
No.
to record. So here we are.
Here we are.
We're just talking about how our skin is dry and hair is dry and it's winter. And yeah, my skin's very dry.
Yeah, like doesn't matter what you put on it. I think it's because you get in the vehicle and you crank the heat, and then it's like blowing on your face and your hands.
Maybe.
Because, right? Because
Yeah.
that's like the two parts that are always the worst.
My
I
lip,
know. And
actually.
your lips, yeah, they're like chapped. Well, there's like no moisture in the air. It's like -9 here today.
It's moist in the air here, but like I don't know, it's dry. I'm such a child. Okay.
Okay.
So Crystal and I were talking like we always do every day for long hours at a time.
Hmm.
And we've come to I mean, this is an understanding of about life, but we just came to like a deeper understanding that like the highest form really of happiness for each individual human being is when you're authentic. And if you look at the vibrational scale, authenticity is actually higher than love, which is
4 times higher.
4 times higher. Yeah. Being authentic is a challenging if you have masked yourself for your whole life. It's so interesting. I did a poll on this today. Like the people that listen to this podcast are definitely black sheep. Like definitely. There are people, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's like you guys are the guy, you guys are the guys. You guys are the people that question life and maybe haven't had it easy in life or just like you haven't been on the straight and narrow path. You've had
Hmm.
to overcome challenge, and people who overcome challenge and like don't go with the way of the grain of life are often the black sheep. And the black sheep um, are the ones that need to learn how to be authentic,
Yeah.
because being like owning that part of you that we've resisted for so long is what keeps us struggling.
It's interesting because I was just gonna say, some people spend their entire life trying to fit in,
I know. Ugh.
and I don't want to fit in.
I don't want to fit in either.
I want to be so unique and different,
Yep.
and like, and not like in a loud, like crazy way, but like there's something about her that is special.
You know, we all, every human has that
Yeah.
essence,
Yeah.
right? We all have the ability to tap into it, but we don't, right?
Hmm.
Like some people are not brave enough to ever think about it. It's us black sheep, and like authenticity for you is going to be different than me. Like I
Yeah.
am a little bit loud, I am a little bit obnoxious, and I've had to own that about myself. I'm like, that's just me. Like I'm inappropriate. I like to be an idiot sometimes. And like that's part of my personality. But like suppressing it, right, is keeping us from being ourselves. And people are not brave enough to be themselves.
I think a big part of it is getting over the fear of what other people think,
Yeah.
because that insecurity actually shines through in your energy,
Yes.
like the
You can
feeling that
really
way.
feel. You
Yeah.
can feel when let's talk about it, when someone's not authentic. So let's talk about
Okay.
social
Yeah.
media and
Yeah.
how people can misrepresent themselves, why you would be attracted to that, and then what authenticity feels like. So
Yep.
this is good. So yeah, so let's say if you're on social media and I run into somebody and they're not actually being authentic, but I'm drawn to them. What does that mean?
Is this a test?
It's a question.
If you saw someone on social media and they were not authentic, why would you be drawn to them?
Yeah. Oh, I'm like asking you this as if I think you know the answer. I can.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's not a test.
I okay. So I don't know,
Okay, so
Morgan.
I do.
You go.
Okay, so let's say okay, they say they being like,
The person on social
I
media.
don't even effing know. No,
They, oh, they.
they
Yeah.
quotation. It is said, like we've mentioned, that authenticity is higher than love.
Yeah.
So meaning when someone is in their authentic energy, they will radiate. It will be like
Yeah.
will have a different essence about them.
Yeah.
They'll be confident, not cocky. They will be, it's like it like feels really good. You may
Yeah.
not like that person. You may be like, I don't agree with that energy, but it's like true Beyonce vibes, not actually Beyonce because she's like all sorts of fucked up, but it's like
Yeah.
the true essence of somebody just like owning their shit. And it hits differently in the room. Again, you don't have to like them, you don't have to agree with them, but it hits differently. And it feels good when
Mhm.
you're in their presence. Whether or not you agree with them or not, it will feel good. Like it will just give you'll feel like you can respect them.
Mhm.
That is like the feeling that you'll receive when you're around somebody or you see somebody on social media who is authentic. When they are not authentic, when a person on social media or a person you run into is faking their energy,
Yeah. Their
it will make,
authenticity.
yeah, it will make you feel off. You won't be able to explain it. You're going to be like, but this doesn't make sense. What they're saying sounds good and like their eye contact is good and like something, but like it'll just be a feeling that like I don't know, like you'll just have questions.
Yeah.
And the reason why people can be attracted like to leaders or to like partners or to I don't know, just humans in general
Yeah.
were not in their authenticity is you probably have a wound in your energy that is attracted to that because it feeds something in your childhood. So it
Mm.
could be like narcissism for
Mhm.
like the person's narcissistic slightly, or the person's like faking it, or whatever it is, and it triggers your like attachment wounds or some wound. And so you're like, oh, that feels good. And it's not that it feels good because they're authentic. It feels good because it's a familiar wound, if that
Yeah,
makes
let's talk about this for a second.
yeah.
So, for example, if one of your parents were a narcissist, you have learned that that is normal
Yep.
for you.
Yep.
So that is your safe zone.
Well, it's just normal like that.
It's
You're
like that
aware. It's
inter,
comfortable.
yeah,
It's comfortable to your
comfortable.
nervous system.
Yeah,
Your nervous
that
system
makes
will
sense.
feel as though, um, even though logically you're like, well, this person's words and actions don't align, something's off, it
Hmm.
feels comfortable to you because your nervous system's aligned with it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I guess like a good question would be like, how do you spot the difference between someone who's
Yeah.
like and not? And it's really bringing it like if you're like in a relationship, like I am not a relationship expert in by any means, but if you're in relations with somebody, this could be a coworker, this could be a boss, this could be like whatever, and you're just like, I don't know, sit, close your eyes, and ask yourself, how do you feel in their presence? And
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're like, like I just can't put a finger on it, that's all you need to know.
Mhm.
And that's because they are exuding something that's not in alignment with who they truly are. They may have shadow work that needs to be done. They just something's off. Like it could be different for everybody, right? Like it's going to be different, but like this whole like I'm so good, or like, my old boss, this is a perfect example. He, would walk around being like such a macho man, and like something just felt off. And
Mhm.
it's because he really wasn't a macho man. Like he was so hurt inside and projecting this, I guess you could say, like wall outwardly to keep himself safe. And that would come off as like, I'm macho, like I'm the shit, like the ego will like shine through. But sometimes the ego masks as being
Authenticity.
yeah, authentic. But it doesn't like it will always show, it'll always peer through.
Do you
And
know
so
what? Yeah, I was just gonna say, do you know what I notice?
but
Is that the actions don't align with the words.
yes.
That is one of the biggest red flags. It's like they will tell you what you want to hear,
Yep.
but the actions and the energy don't match up with that.
Yep.
That is a big one.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because I did write a post about this today. It was more about your path and like if you're on the right path, because you know, like it's the path of joy. If whatever it is, you're experiencing joy along the way.
Yep.
And when I got down into it, I started talking about like the body. Hi, Keish. The body. And like our body tells us, communicates with us with somebody's energy before you even interact in a verbal way. Your body will
Mhm.
tell you if this person is safe, if this person isn't safe.
Yes.
And so when you get into the presence of someone, and I've seen this happen, or I've seen this like it on TikTok and Instagram and everything about getting the butterflies. Okay. So getting the butterflies doesn't mean that you're like getting swept off your feet and this is great. It can sometimes be your body reacting to this person's energy because they are not safe for your energy. So then your heart starts to race and you start to get sweaty and you think, oh, this is so exciting. But that's a
No,
red flag.
not exciting. I heard
Yeah.
somebody call it the trauma tingles once. I was like, that's
Mm.
it. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, Keisha is really in our podcast today. Yeah, the trauma tingles. So yeah, we think like getting hot, sweaty, and bothered is like, ooh, that person's so hot and like they're so
Like
aligned
it's
with me.
like it's lust or something.
Plus, it's trauma.
Yeah.
Trauma.
Yeah.
Or or it is their energy. It's like rubbing something the wrong way. It's like, yeah. And like I fell for that for years. I still have to watch myself. I'm like, oh my God, like this person's great. I'm like, no, no, Morgan, that is trauma. Like that is trauma. Feeling calm, safe, relaxed, being able to sleep around somebody is also a sign of safety. Um, it's like being able to exhale.
Yeah.
Not, oh, I gotta look a certain way. I gotta be a certain way. I gotta impress them. Like, oh, look at me. Like that bullshit.
Yeah, I'm glad you
That,
brought that up.
mhm.
Yes, I'm glad
That
you brought that up because that's
needing to
huge.
impress somebody,
Yeah.
feeling the need that you need to impress somebody is again a discord in your energy, in your energetics. It's like the it, I'm not saying that their authenticity is off, but it could be. But
Yeah.
for whatever reason, if you feel like you need to impress somebody, that is not safety in your energy. Now, there's a difference in, I want to look good. Like, look at my ass in these jeans.
Because I'm trying to feel good.
Yeah, like I want to be sexy in front of this
Yeah.
person. Or I want this person to respect me. I want to dress nicely, whatever. But
Yeah.
you know that like feeling of like, oh, I hope they like me. And you
I
like
hope, yeah.
that, and you like kind of like gasp a little bit. It'll be ever so slightly. That is a discord. That is a no, that is a red flag. That is your body saying, I'm not safe.
Also, I would like to say that if we feel like we need to be our best version of who we are, or we need to dress differently than what we normally do, like this is different than, again, like you said, like I want to look nice. Like I went out with the kids Saturday night. I dressed up, right? Like it was a special occasion. That's different than me going on a date with somebody and being like, okay, I hope they love me. I'm gonna wear this, this, and this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go get my eyebrows done and like go way above beyond who I normally am to
Yes,
try and impress somebody. Then also I'm not being authentic.
exactly.
I should be able to show up like this
Yep.
with greasy hair and a toque and be like, this is me,
Yep.
and like, and feel good about it.
Yep. And if you don't feel good, fucking run the other way. And I don't
Yeah.
mean just dating, because I'm like no dating expert, but like any relationship,
Yeah.
friendship, coworker, mentor, boss, whatever. If somebody makes you feel like for whatever reason, who you are as you are is not enough, because that really is what it is at the
Yeah,
bottom of it.
it is.
You like forget it. Like my old boss, that's how I felt all the time. But I was just like, I don't care, because I was by myself in the room. I was doing my job, like, and it just, but I always felt like when push came to shove, like I wasn't good enough. And it wasn't that I wasn't good enough. He didn't feel good enough. I could feel that. And I didn't draw a strong enough boundary. And then I was like, ooh, something must be wrong with me. No, like those are just not healthy people to be around.
And the other part that I just thought of is putting someone on a pedestal.
Yep.
That is also a red flag.
It is. And that is another form. It's like my old boss was the same way. I put him on a pedestal.
Yep.
When we put people on pedestals, I often find when we put somebody on a pedestal,
Mm-hmm.
it's something lacking in them.
I is that what okay, because I was gonna say I feel like they have something that we feel like we don't have,
Yes, because yes, so something is,
right?
but underneath that, if you unpack
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
its core, something is lacking in them. Their ego has inflated part of them to make them bigger and better and bigger and
in a
better.
different area. Oh
And
yeah,
now we need
yeah.
to help. We feel like we need to rise them up. Why? That is really what it means when we put somebody on a pedestal. We feel like we need to put them above us. Why would
Mhm.
you need to do that? Because they're lacking. So we need to help lift them up because they're actually lacking,
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's manipulation. It's ever so fine. It is like, ugh, it's so fine and it's so backwards. And like, you're like, no, but they're actually just really great. If they're actually really great, they'll be humble. You won't need to lift them up.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also you'll feel equal in their company.
Yes.
You won't feel less than. You won't feel like you need to impress anybody or, play a certain role so that they accept you and like you and take you under their wing. Is like if you're not good enough to just be who you are, then this person is probably not the person to have in your life.
Yeah.
Whatever role that is, like you said, it could be like a boss, it could be a friend, it could be a teacher,
Yeah.
anybody.
Yep.
Literally, like I think this conversation is really good for like teenagers,
Ooh, yeah.
right? Because they're really learning who they are
Yeah.
and how to be authentic. And like it's so interesting because teenagers look at each other and compare themselves.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out what form that they are that fits the best
Mhm.
instead of just following their own internal compass.
Instead of just being who they are,
Yeah.
right? Being who we are. I mean, I think it maybe takes a little bit of time to
It does.
figure out, but really just it's not a thinking though, it's not a figuring out, it's just a listening game. It's
Mhm.
like, I want to lie on the couch. I like to do this on Friday nights. Like when you're younger, I'm trying to think, like, I like to wear these jeans, but like, why do you like to wear these jeans? Well, because she wore them. Or it's like you kind of got to unpack the layers, but it's
Yeah.
just you got to figure out what's driving it. And it's like, how can you be the most comfortable and the most happy? And the like you said earlier about like joy, how can you just like follow joy, whatever
Mhm.
that, but like, yeah, I think it's tough as a teenager.
Mhm. It
It's,
is.
I'm like trying to explain it. I'm like, nah, I don't know how to explain that.
Because you think about it, like you're at home, you're in your jogging pants and your hoodie, and then all of a sudden you're going out to a party, so you're putting your makeup on, you're curling your hair, you're getting your favorite jeans out. Like there's like this layer of like dress to impress. Like
But
I
why are you doing that? Because when you're a
exactly.
teenager, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons, but you don't know that.
No, you don't. And as you grow, and you know what? I think a lot of adults do it too.
Oh yeah, a
I
ton.
think I think there's a lot of adult. Keisha's just staring right into the monitor, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
She's like right into this conversation.
Oh, hi,
Um,
I'm authentic. Look at me.
I think there's a lot of, just adults that are still trying to figure that out too.
Yeah.
Still trying to figure out who they are. Like if you were the only person on this earth, the only person, would you care what you wore? Would you
Oh,
care how you talked? Would you care? Like you wouldn't.
it's so funny you say this. I listened to when I was going through hypnosis training, we were offered a free course on mindfulness. And this brings up this topic. We took this course as well, and it was, I don't remember the title of like this section of the course, but it was basically like had to do with like comparison. Like the only way we like or dislike things really at its core is like, are you tall? Well, I don't know. Only compared to this person I am.
Oh
It's
my
like,
gosh, so true.
right? If you have nothing to compare
Yeah.
it to, like it's kind of a mind fuck. It is. So you just have to do your best to like kind of close your eyes and be like, I enjoy this food. I like these clothes. They make me feel X, Y, and Z. Like I like this, blah, 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 blah. And do your trauma healing, do your inner child healing.
Yeah.
And like that is this, I think, as authentic as you can possibly get. Like we're never
Yeah.
gonna be like this could be such a quantum multi purposeful conversation. There's so many layers to like what are we actually? We're really nothing and everything. So like to be your true self, the closest you'll ever be is like what feels good to you and you're not acting out of wounds, right? As
That's
much
a really,
as you can.
yeah, that's a really great point because it makes me think of like food, okay, which is very random, but you learn different things about food. And so, like, there's certain things that you want to have, but you won't allow yourself to have it because you've been told or you've learned that this isn't healthy for your body, but then you eat it and then you feel guilty about it. It's like, it feels like the same as comparison. It's like when it comes down to it, and there's guilt or shame or some kind of feeling behind it, I think that that would be an important time to dig a little deeper and be like, okay, like, why do I really feel this way?
Yeah. Yeah, like what's a really good question to ask yourself about anything ever in life is like, what is the driver here?
Yeah.
Is the driver like for me to get noticed by other people? And there's no judgment.
Yep.
It's really good to like get clear on what's going on. Is the driver to get attention? Is the driver my pure curiosity? Like, is it,
Mm-hmm.
my this brings me joy, like pure
Mm-hmm.
joy? Or are you being manipulative and like you got to be honest with yourself?
Yeah.
Or are you
Yeah.
getting something out of it? Like, and there's nothing wrong with that, but
No.
it's being honest with yourself and being like, yeah, I'm being a little manipulative. That's okay. Be aware. The more that we're like conscious of our actions
Yeah.
and we own it, the less that it will run its course like crazy, the more that it'll energetically clean up. If you, unless you're a complete psychopath, I guess. But if
I
you're
mean,
like I'm just gonna kill these people because I don't care. I don't care. Like, I mean, that is authentic though to that person, right?
I was gonna say, I think that true authenticity is fully owning who you are,
Yeah.
fully, and just being like, well, this is me, and I feel good about it.
Yeah. That's the key. It's like, and not, "Nah, I feel good about it," and have your ego say that. It's like, no, I like really can I
Yeah.
can look myself in the mirror now. Like, this is me speaking from me. I can look myself in the mirror and I'm be like, I just like love you. Like, and not like trying to love myself or like wanting to, but I'm like, I genuinely think you're cool shit. Like, I love you. I'm proud of you for all of the things you've done. And I think you're funny and goofy and like, yeah, you're cool. And I really enjoy your company. Like, if you can you enjoy your own company is
Absolutely.
really a good way to tell if somebody is in alignment with themselves. If
Yep.
can you sit with yourself like the way I did this year, which I was like, oh, I can't. I died. This was insane to me to
That's
sit.
where it started. When
Yeah,
it first started, were you like, I can't do this?
I can't do this. I was freaking out. I was freaking out.
Yeah.
I sat with this like depression over a month and a half this year. Um, like every day fucking crying for hours, like not having
Mhm.
control over it. But pulling yourself out of something like that, or not really pulling yourself out, going through something like that. I'm single. I have no physical friends that live near me except for one, like but she's, has her day job and like has stuff to do.
Mhm.
I don't have a lot of family. Like, I don't have anybody really. And I
Mhm.
sat here and just did it and lived with myself, pushed myself through it, pulled, like, went through it. And now I'm like, wow, like, you really, like, now if somebody tried to fuck with me, I'd be like, I know what I'm worth. Like, I know what I'm capable of. Like, it's being
Mhm.
raw, being able to look yourself in the mirror and be like, you know what? You're doing good. And
Mhm.
if you can be comfortable with yourself as much as possible and not like, ooh, but I would change this one thing or like, ooh, I mean, we'll never be perfect, but it's as close as to like looking yourself in the mirror as you can get and being like, yep, you're doing great and not for money, not for fame, not for status, not for the ego, but
Mhm.
truly as you bare naked, nothing, nada, just you and your soul. Like, what's that relationship like? And if that relationship is like, it's pretty good, yep, then you are authentic. And that's it.
I agree. I agree. I feel like that is really challenging to do.
Yeah.
Getting honest with yourself,
Whew.
getting like deep and honest with yourself, it's scary because you
It's,
have to admit feelings that you don't want to admit sometimes. It's like it's like having a conversation with your best friend, but you like hold back saying things because you don't want them to judge you.
yep,
You judge yourself all the time.
yep,
Like we judge ourselves. We will see ourselves through the eyes of somebody else and we will judge ourselves. We will hold ourselves back. We will change who we're trying to be. And it's like when you actually get so clear, and like I feel like when you were saying that, Morgan, I was like, I bet you the 40-day depression was serving you to get to know yourself on such a deep level. It was like, you know how they say you need to be your own best friend? It was like you becoming your own best friend, picking
oh,
yourself up,
yep,
like wiping your tears, holding yourself through those tears,
yep,
feeling into it. Like, where is this coming from? Like, there was so much work that you did in that portal,
yep.
and it was hard. It was challenging.
Oh man, like I remember you were you're still depressed. Like you were like, I don't understand. I didn't
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Like it just, it had to purge
Yeah.
whatever I had energetic blocks that were on me. And I've been in the
Mm-hmm.
healing world with myself on this journey for so long that it like you cannot have more if you don't get rid of this. It was taking up so much space. Energetically, it had to go. And it was not fun, but so proud of myself I did that. Like,
I know.
wow.
I'm proud of you too. When someone that I love is going through such a hard time, it's so hard when you feel like you can't help, you know? It's like it just feels it's like you pray, you're just like, okay, I feel like it's gonna change. Like, and you try to give hope and faith and support in the best way that you possibly can. Like that's just what we do.
Mhm.
And to witness someone going through something like that is really hard.
Yeah.
Not as hard as being in it, but equally feels
Yeah.
challenging.
Well, because you're helpless.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just noticing the lighting in my house today. It looked like I've just it's just awful.
Why?
It's just very dark, my face. I don't know. It's just doesn't
Well,
look.
because I feel like it's coming down like this. Normally it's this way.
Yeah, well, because the light, yeah,
Because you have big lights on too, not just the lamp.
no, I realized I should have turned it off, but oh well.
You look great.
No, it's
This
just
is authentically you.
authentically me, dark face today. Can't see anything. Just I look like it
You're
reminds
just noticing.
when people have entities, that's what it reminds me of. I'm like, oh,
Or
black eyes.
oh my god. Ugh.
Anyways, it's funny we're talking about this and that came up, but um yeah, just like let's offer some tips. So let's say, okay, so here you are, day one, listening to this podcast, and you're like, well, how do I be authentic? What does that mean? You know, what are some things we can offer somebody who's
Okay.
wanting to be more authentic? I would say stop living from your mind. What should you do? You can't even ask that question. That take that off the table.
Yeah.
You should and should not do nothing. It's what do you feel like you should do? What do you
What
feel
feels good?
feels good to you?
Yeah,
That
what feels the best?
what makes you feel good about this situation. Oh, well, it's like, should I have chicken or should I have salmon for dinner? What should I do? Like, let's ponder this. Like, I
And
don't know.
okay, yeah, let's do this. So the mind's gonna be like, well, there's
Well, I should
probably
have
more protein
protein
in
and
chicken and it's leaner and there's the X. Yeah, that's there
yeah,
goes the
this
brain.
you're just like, no, we're going to be authentic in this moment. Being authentic is listening to what you want in the moment in this scenario.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, I feel like I want salmon, even though there's no rhyme or reason. That's how you be authentic. It's like listening to what your heart is asking for and how can you make that decision as smoothly as possible. It's never going to be that simple chicken or salmon, right? But I'm just using that as an example. I hope this is making sense.
Oh yeah, well, we'll use another example. When you go to get dressed in the morning, jogging pants
Oh, yes.
feel really friggin' good.
I am a
Okay.
jogging pant girl.
Jogging pants feel really good, but you're like, I'm gonna squeeze into these skin tight, high waisted jeans. No,
Bucket.
because I look better. That's the
That's it
ego.
right.
I'm
That's
gonna
right
squeeze
there.
into the skin tight, high waisted jeans because I look better, because I care about what people think of me, or I'm gonna wear jogging pants because it makes me feel comfortable and I can move. I feel spacious. You know, I can nourish my body properly instead of eating 2 celery sticks and feeling bloated. You know, like there's such a difference between the two.
Energy is different.
So it's like the driver. What is driving you?
What's driving your decision? Is it like, well, I want to be noticed, or I want to be loved, or I want to
Okay,
be
yeah. Okay, oh yeah.
attention? It's like
Yeah.
we all want to be noticed, loved, and have attention. All of us.
Yeah, we do.
But why?
Yeah.
Is it because you don't think you're good enough as you are?
Ooh, I
Because
gotta add to
I
this.
know it's like, go ahead.
Because what you're saying also pairs perfectly in with this. Let's say that you create content for your business.
Mhm. Oh, I could go down this rabbit hole.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the driver?
And every single, what is the
What's the
driver? Oh,
driver?
I want people to like it. Oh, I want them to love me. Oh, I want them to follow me.
I want more followers. I want more engagement. I want to be famous. Why?
Why? We all, people, anybody in a business wants more followers. Anybody in a business, I wouldn't say the word famous, but like wants a level of
Visibility.
visibility, wants to be known,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that, they go hand in hand. There's nothing wrong with that. Like that makes, that is about having a business. Like we need clients,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's like, if like the driver is like, I need people to notice me, and it's like this strict like energy of like, because I need to be noticed, like because it's a mission of mine to be noticed. What?
I know. See,
What's wrong with, but like if this is how you're feeling, my
yeah.
question is, what's wrong with how you are now?
And let's talk about that
And
because
let's unpack that, because
there
that's it gets
there's
muddled.
nothing wrong with feeling that way.
Right. It's
There's
the driver.
nothing wrong with wanting a big following. There's nothing wrong with wanting to reach more people. There's nothing wrong with that. Why why do you want it? Why do you want that part? That and like and it's okay to want it again, but it's like, is there a
I
piece
want it.
within you that doesn't feel seen,
Right.
that
And
doesn't feel heard?
right. And Crystal and I were talking about this earlier today. And like, I can get into this forever. This is like my soapbox. Apparently, this is like what I'm meant to do right now in my life, at least, is like understanding our parts, right?
Yeah.
If there's a part of you that didn't feel adequate growing up for whatever reason, it does not have to be logical. Like I was telling
Well,
Chris,
we can do you want to use my example?
sure, I'll
Okay.
let you share it. Sure.
Okay. So all I want to say to start is I couldn't understand why setting boundaries didn't feel good to me. Okay. So that was step one. So if I set a really hard boundary, I would get scared that I was hurting the other person instead of owning the boundary and protecting myself.
Yeah.
So then Morgan said to me, well, it's probably because something happened when you were young. And so we're talking this through. And I was like, my guides literally showed me the exact memory, and I remember it very vividly. I was in my brother's room. He was playing with a basket that my grandma had given me, and I was like 6. And he didn't ask me for the basket, he just took it. And I go in there and I said, like, I want my basket. And he's like, no, I'm using it. And it escalated because that's what happens with kids. They're possessive. And so I go to get my basket. He kicks me in the stomach. So I hit him. And then my dad comes in and like spanks me. Okay. So that was what I learned at a young age. When I set a boundary,
You're punished.
something bad's going to happen.
100%. And that is like, it solidifies.
Yeah.
Parts of us get frozen. Like we've done that podcast on parts work.
Yeah.
A part of us gets frozen in time. Literally, like that 6-year-old has been running the show about you and boundaries since you were 6.
And
Like,
guess what lesson I continuously have to learn?
yeah, because that's what happens. Because she doesn't understand. And I was explaining to Crystal, like this is why parts work, and understanding and like then rescuing her. And there's like different levels to this, like how you do it is so important, because we have to enmesh that part back into wholeness, back into her being, because she's back at 6 years old running the show.
Yeah.
Isn't this scary that people in the government, at all of us are running around with frozen parts of us
Yeah, I know. It's
running the
crazy.
show? It's
Yeah.
wild. Like, it's, I am so obsessed with this work. Like, I am so obsessed with it. It's so fascinating to me because I've experienced so much trauma and then banging my head against the wall, trying to figure it out. Like, why is it not working? It's like, oh, like it has nothing to do with right now.
Yeah.
Like these toxic relationships we get into, or like your bad boss, like I had, which is another toxic relationship, or whatever, is just a reflection of your part not understanding that it can let go. And you have to go back and we have to rescue them. We have to heal them. We have to, change how your subconscious relates to that scenario. And when you do
Yeah.
that, there's a couple parts of this. First, under having the knowledge of like, oh, holy shit, bringing the unconscious to the conscious is like wildly part of it, because once you know, you're like, ah, I see, I see, I see, I see. And then
Mhm.
doing the like subconscious energetic work, it's like it brings all parts back online. And it's so powerful to like break habits. Like habits are not just things you're doing. If it like doesn't make sense and you keep doing it over and over and over again, it has nothing to do with your willpower. Like it's not
Yeah.
your willpower. If it
Hmm.
was your willpower, you'd fix it,
So true.
right?
It's
It's
so
not,
true.
yeah.
So then it's like it really gets me kind of obsessed now with like with like wanting
No,
to like figure everything out.
I know.
Because when I realized that moment, I was like, I feel so free.
I know.
I feel free now. And like actually, I'm setting this boundary
Yep.
because I'm protecting myself
Yep.
and I'm allowed.
And you're like, oh, I don't need to be scared because I'm in 2020 and 2024, for lack of, I know time doesn't exist, but let's pretend it does. I am right now, hold on, actually,
Yeah.
because time doesn't exist, that's why this happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because time is not linear the way we humans see it, everything's always happening at once. So if
Yep.
you fix the part of you that's running the show, it's a domino effect into the present moment. So
Mm-hmm.
a really helpful thing is being like, when you realize like what the trigger is, you're like, oh, I'm actually not 6. My brother can't hurt me. My dad's not going to hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm safe.
Yep.
It automatically, you're like, you free yourself.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's so, so huge to like break friggin' patterns that keep us stuck.
It was
And when
like,
you do, your life, like the fucking abundant, like things just starts like click, 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 click.
I'm like, I want to deep dive into all my little frozen selves and free them all,
I know.
because and because it didn't make sense. It was like, I know that I'm doing the right thing
Mhm.
and it feels safe to do it. And it's like I'm doing the wrong thing at the same time. That is what my energy was doing. I feel bad. I feel bad about this,
Yeah.
you know? And
Mhm.
and I was like this is making zero sense. And I would continue to bring it up to Morgan, and I felt like I was like a broken record. But I also knew, because there is something here that is happening. I just don't know what.
Yeah.
And now I know.
Parts work. I'm telling you,
Parts work.
like the best friggin' tool. It's such a good tool. Like parts work and energy work, like you don't need anything else. You are like, I mean, maybe some days we need a little bit of Valium, but like other,
Yeah.
like really parts work and energetics are the keys to your life. Like it, and it's so overlooked.
Yeah.
Teal Swan, actually, a lot of people can't stand her because she's so triggering. I love her, but
Mm-hmm.
she's so triggering. Like she's experienced so much trauma and she actually wrote a book on like doing parts work. It's called The Completion Process. And it's very similar to how I do it. It's just her way of doing it, right? It's very similar. But if like anybody's ever listening to like this podcast and really wants to understand like a deeper dive, like she is so wise
Hmm.
on like even for you, Crystal, like you should do a deep
Hmm.
dive on heel
Yeah.
swell work. Like she will just like the way that she can talk about it is so next level. Like it's way surpassed what I can talk about right now. She just is so spiritually connected and she's done so much in the 3D. It's just like
Hmm.
this wild thing. So she's
Do,
like a really great person to,
do you think she's triggering because it's confronting?
yes.
Nobody wants to be called out on their
It's
stuff.
like she and like I think also due to her trauma, she has an awkward way of presenting herself. So she seems inauthentic, but she's not. She'll like laugh when it's like not appropriate to laugh, but I think it's a coping mechanism
Oh yeah.
so much trauma. And because I've experienced so much trauma, I see her. It's like
Mhm.
I can see past it, but it is like she's really triggering. Like she rubs people the wrong way, but she's so authentic. Like this is
Oh,
what,
Morgan, now I'm gonna be deep diving.
yeah, yeah,
The mind has always fascinated me though.
I
Like
know.
I did a program called Clear State of Mind that I launched in my business to learn how to master quieting the mind and using it for its highest good, because like in the present, that I'm really good at.
Mhm.
But the whole subconscious and that whole, like I'm learning.
Yep,
I'm learning, and it's fascinating.
it is. It really is fascinating. It like our subconscious mind holds everything. Like it's like whether you are a night owl or not, whether you are like um straight or not,
Left-handed. Yeah.
left hand, like all of the things. And like other people can say, well, it's connected to past lives, whatever, who your soul, the subconscious mind is connected to the soul. It's all interconnected. So when you can get in there and you can like and it's like you're witnessing it, you can see it, you're like holy shit, it's like you can cherry pick how you want to live your life. I have cherry picked how I want to live my life, and I cannot believe I literally there are days like I'm like, what is going on? Like,
This is
how
real.
is this real?
Yeah.
Because I've done so much, I've done all the healing work. And when we do all the energetics, as you know, and all the subconscious work, the spirit moves faster than the 3D world. So the
Yep.
3D world takes time to catch up. It's catching up, and I'm like, wait, what? What? Because like I've waited for so long that like, I'm way past the 3D coming into fruition now that it's just like coming out of nowhere.
Yeah. Which is so beautiful. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
That's what's happening in my world too. Like it almost happened at the same time for us. It was like every day we're like,
I
I
have a
have
new
another
client.
client. What is happening?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Last night, I'll share this with all you guys. Okay, I'm just gonna share this. I had last week a Kundalini awakening. I was not like didn't know that you could just have one. My Kundalini has been rising, but the snake fully like it went. And I've been wanting lately. I'm like I want my third eye to come on more. Like it's not fully open, and I knew it wasn't. And I actually messaged Ariel, and I was like I asked her about her program. Like maybe I'll like get attuned to ACHF, but like I don't think I want to do that to do this with other people. I think it's just like right now I just want to really have this relationship with myself. And like 2 days later, I'm just meditating like I do every other day. So I didn't do anything different.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, I was like resurrected in my mind. I could like see my spirit, my soul experiencing a Kundalini awakening. And I'm like, what the fuck what is this? I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm like, is that a snake? And then I'm like, oh my God. And then my physical body starts shaking, like like doing this, like physically shaking. I'm like, holy shit, I think I'm having a Kundalini awakening. And like people who experience this, who don't know what's happening, they're like, I'm having a seizure. It's,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
because I could see, and I'm like, this is what I've been asking for in a sense. I was like, holy shit. And like when you're like in trance and you're channeling, it like makes so much sense as it's
Mhm.
happening. Like you're not
Mhm.
like, this is an interesting experience. It just like you just get it, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know where I was going with it. Oh, anyways, long story short, then I was opened up to my past lives like 2 days after that. And I was like, what is happening? And then last night, so neat, I'm outside just like, wow, like I got another client last night. I'm just like, oh my God, this life is so neat. Like imagine that in January, like I have a huge long wait list. And as my brain says it, I see like today, it's December 16th. On last night on the full moon, I'm saying this to myself, and a rabbit runs in front of me, and I'm like, I can't even make it. Like I can't make this up, guys. Like a rabbit in the winter running on my like what?
Yeah.
Like in that moment, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And I'm like crying. I'm like, thank you. It's so great.
Yeah. It's the, oh man, the gratitude that has been flowing this month is
Right?
next level.
It is.
It's next level. And it's like not just like, oh, thank you. It's like a deep reverence feeling that is just
Oh,
overwhelms your system where you want to cry.
so the moon's in Cancer today.
Okay.
And I remember in Cancer season this year, that was when my abundance for the first, like energetically, like locked in. It's when I went
Yeah.
over to True Roots, all the things. And I was like, it was just like this joy. And then after that, I had the major depression,
Right.
which needed to happen in order for that, my dreams to come true. But I find like this Cancerian energy, I really like it. Like it just like makes your heart explode. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, like I have been crying all day today in gratitude,
Yeah.
like bawling my like hysterically bawling my eyes out and then laughing at myself, being like, you're so silly. And I'm like, I know, but it's so exciting.
That's my favorite thing that you do. You have two conversations going. And then you're like, you tell me about it, and you're like, I don't know which Morgan it is, but
Oh, because yesterday on the full moon, like I don't know who else, you guys have to have felt it. That full moon last
it
night
was crazy.
was, the energy was wild. It was like fiery and like personality was popping off and like
Yeah.
people are crazy right
Yeah.
now. Like
Yeah.
literally insane. Like the light that was shed on all of us on who, like that's where Crystal and I came up with this idea. It's like the authenticity of
Yeah.
humans. People are, this is like, this has changed. That this was like a timeline hop for everybody.
Yeah.
People solidified who they are, who they're not, what we're going to put up with, what we're not going to put up with. We've made the bed, we're going to have to sleep in it for a little bit at least,
Yeah.
with this whole shit show of a full moon. So like,
It's interesting because I did a little full moon update on my stories. And I had this visualization when I was talking to a friend last night, just walking her through what she was feeling. And I said, I really feel like the full moon is asking us to, like, it's like we're standing in the shadow. And the full moon's like, you need to step out into the light. And when you step out into the light, you are like stark naked.
mhm,
So the light just illuminates every part of you.
yeah,
And it's so vulnerable and it's so beautiful
yeah, it
because
is.
it's like we look at ourselves and we can pick apart all the flaws that we think we have. We can look at ourselves and we can pick all the things that we think are beautiful about ourselves, but in all of that we are a completely whole person.
Yep.
And that is authenticity.
Yes.
When you can bring your whole self into this, in the whole self into the light. And I felt like
Owning it.
that's what the full moon was.
Yes. And it's owning, it's like taking accountability for your own bullshit.
Yeah.
Not gonna be ever perfect. That is an unreal, like whatever the heck that means. I don't even know what that means. But it's like Can you own that you're an asshole?
It's like, I don't even want you to try to be perfect.
No, just be who you are and
Yeah.
like, but like own it
Yeah.
because it's like pretending we're not and like, oh, I'm better than you.
Beating around the bush and
Like, like, stop. Like, if you're an asshole, at least fucking own it. I will at least respect you then. You
yeah.
know, like,
Yeah.
stop hiding behind that I'm better than you, energetically bullshit. Like, I'm gonna pretend I'm so much wiser. Like, just like cut the shit. Like, you're like, just cut it. Like, no one is better than anybody. We're all on this weird planet
Yeah.
that's full of magic
Yeah.
and so much pain. And it's got all the things here, and we're all in it together. No one is better at this game than anyone else. We're
When
all
you
just fucking God knows doing what. I don't know.
when you start to get really honest with it, it's like you will learn that everyone has something to resonate.
Yeah.
You're not alone in it.
No.
It's like, and like, why do we have to pretend that, you know, this X happened, and so we have to justify it, or we have to do this or do this, or like make it look different than it is. It's like, let's just see it for what it is. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's be open and honest. Like, we're stepping into the light here. We are all the same.
Well, the ego.
Yeah.
The ego gets its friggin' head involved, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna be better than this person, or I'm gonna,
Yeah.
make sure that I'm safe, because that's really what it boils down to is the
Yeah.
ego is trying to survive, and but it's acknowledging that about yourself, like, okay, I'm just trying to survive,
Yeah.
and this is how I cope. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
being humble about that part of you, again, your parts, is what will free you from them, is
Yep.
like, yep, I can be an asshole, my ego gets involved or whatever, right?
And like, own it.
Own it.
I'm like, this is who I am.
I've made a point, I was telling Crystal this last night, this is something I do with my clients. They don't know about it, and I'm happy to share because it's my own thing, is I say a prayer every time prior to a session, and it goes something like, my asking my higher self to come in to connect with their higher self, as long as it's okay with their higher self, and to please allow the best case scenario to happen for my growth and evolution, their growth, evolution, and healing, and for the whole planet and all the collective. And this prayer drops me into my heart. And the reason I do this is I don't ever want this my job, like this passion project that's turning into my career, to ever become something where my ego is involved. I don't want my ego taking, like, oh yeah, look how good I am, and like, look how we have a business and blah blah. It's like, because that can so easily happen. It's like, look at the business and I make the money and da 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 da. And like, look at me, how cool I am. It's like, you're missing the mark. Like, that's
Yeah.
not why we're doing this. Let's get into our hearts. Let's remember that, like, I'm a facilitator of my higher self, that I'm not here taking anything from you, giving anything to you. We're here co-creating healing, period. I don't want my ego being like, look what I did today. Like, no.
It's interesting that you say that, because yesterday when I was driving home from my walk from Dry Gulch, I was thinking about like my soul pause healing and like helping animals, and I was like, like, I am beyond grateful that God gifted me the gifts that I have to be able to do this kind of work. And it kind of makes me sad that I have clients, because then it means that there's something wrong.
I
And,
know.
and then I'm like, and what a gift it is to be able to help.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
all I want to do. I just want to help.
Yeah, well, you are.
it just it
Crystal,
just it
I
just made
know.
me think of that, though. Like, it made me kind of sad, because like, if I look at one of my pets, and God only knows that I have shares in the vet now because I've been there so many times this year. It breaks my heart when
Really have
they're not
shares with them?
well.
Are you being,
Like I really feel no.
oh, I was like, what?
It's because I've spent
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of dollars. No,
What?
that's sarcasm.
Thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it just,
I know,
yeah,
but things are always going to happen. It's being able to have the proper resources. And
yeah,
Crystal, I'm telling you, if it wasn't for you, Keisha would not be well. Gracie's not well, but you have been able to help me understand what's wrong,
yeah, we're figuring it out.
right? Like,
Yeah,
that's beautiful. Like, thank God. Yeah, I ended up having to go to the vet. I went though because I wanted to make sure it wasn't something else. And guess what?
absolutely,
And it wasn't,
absolutely.
and
Yeah,
no, it wasn't anything. And now I'm going to take her to a chiropractor. I have an appointment for Wednesday. I can't believe it. And which is like, I mean, it's not, it's like almost tomorrow, kind of tomorrow, the next. I'm so,
time's an illusion. It doesn't matter.
oh, I'm goofy. I'm so tired today. I hope everyone's good, but I cannot, everyone is probably tired. Like this full moon.
Yeah.
And like it goes, the energy's not gone. And then Mercury went direct. Last night, I'm like, I pass out so tired. I'm waking up 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, zing. I'm like, what? I'm like, we're getting hit. I can feel when we get solar flares now. I'm one of these people. I'm like, the solar flares. And I looked on the Schumann resonance
I
and
bet you.
we were hit.
Boom. I saw the big white streak
We
that
were good
happened.
for a couple days. It was like, it
Yeah.
was good. And then boom. And I'm like, great. Like,
No.
on TikTok at 2 a.m. being like Schumann resonance. There's one girl on TikTok. I shouldn't say this, but this is all parts of me authentically being here. She's like, she's like I didn't realize it was her. And you click on her and she's like, welcome to the Schumann resonance. I'm like, that's how she says it, and it gets me every time. I can't, have you heard it?
No, you gotta send me
I
that.
will. I can't listen to her say that. She's like, and a Schumann resonance, and I'm just dying. I'm like, that's not it. Maybe it
There's
is.
a lady that I follow on there that does it every day. And she's really great actually.
Yeah.
And she kind of depicts it, but I can read it easily now and I understand like the chakras go from the top to the
Yeah.
bottom, and so how deep the streaks go, like you know what it's hitting, and like the blackout is like a quantum or timeline jump. Like I'm starting to figure it all that out.
Yeah, we definitely like later into yesterday had like a blast of light, and I'm
We
like,
did
I can,
for like 6 hours, Morgan.
like I could tell. I'm like, I could tell you that at 2 o'clock in the
It
morning.
was
I
it
know.
was it was 10 to 4. It was from 10 till 4.
10 a.m.
I think so. It
Why
might have
is
been PM. Might have been PM.
no? Why is it hitting me at 2? I don't know why it hit me at 2 a.m. But like I can tell you that I had that light was coming in because I
So
was
if we get so the Schumann resident or Schumann resonance, um,
on.
the Schumann resonance like measures the Earth's energy, and if we get solar flares on top of the 5D light codes, which is the white, then that's when you got to figure out when the solar flare was, what time, because I bet you it was at 2.
Ugh. I was like, I think I'm gonna have to medicate myself to sleep. Like I
There's
can't
cat hair floating everywhere in here.
be up all night. So I'm like drinking my chamomile tea and it just, yeah,
Maybe if you would have went to bed at 8 when you were
I was
so friggin'
exhausted.
tired,
I know, but I
and
didn't.
you're like, I'm gonna watch TV and then I'm gonna get energized and then I'm gonna shower and then and you're telling me this whole routine in my brain is like, just go to your bed and lie down and sleep. Cause then maybe you would have slept from 8 till 2. That's like a whole night.
Yeah, I know. I
And
should have.
then
I thought about that later. I was like, I probably should have gone to bed when I was like blaring at Crystal all this information.
I find that if I have a really solid evening routine, and so I put my phone away and then I have a cup of hot cocoa and I'll do like ACHF, or this is when I've been doing my gratitude journaling. I'll be sitting there with my hot cocoa and my journal, like passing out, sitting up.
It reminds me of the good old days when I would sit there with cider and like I used to wake up and this is for if Janelle is listening to this, she will be like, "Yep." I used to sit and like I loved cider. Like I was obsessed with cider when I used to drink,
Yeah,
and I would sit there and like and then I'd wake up and it was all over me. And I was like,
yeah.
that was a good one. That was a good one. And I was like, oh man, like you gotta cringe at these things now.
I've done that with my hot chocolate.
Yeah, I know, you tell me.
And I have white sheets, white quilt. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
boy.
And I'm like, oh, okay, well, if you're tired, you to go to bed. Don't try and fight it to finish your gratitude list. Go to bed.
All right, I feel like we've been on here for a long time, and that's great.
Yeah.
We missed last week for sure. Um, Next week is Christmas, and that's weird, but whatever.
Yeah, the episode will come out on Christmas Eve.
It will. Okay, well, maybe plan it around that, and maybe we can talk about gratitude and just how to really reflect on your year and like, oh no, it will be a love and a relationship. Maybe we can change it around. We'll figure it out.
I was gonna say we should close it out with, I mean, we have a lot to be grateful for. We
Yeah.
started this in January.
Yeah. This has been a
It's,
really cool year. It's been so weird, like what actually happened this year, but I'm so grateful for it. Like
yeah.
it's been a good ending, but it hasn't been without a lot of work and tears, that's for sure.
Yeah. Do you feel like it was like on fast forward? Because how are we in December?
It's like it feels like it's fast forward and slow motion at once,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? That
Yeah.
was like a whole lifetime ago. Like that person doesn't exist anymore.
I know.
Like who I was in January is dead. She's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
Like this is my thing about spiritual growth and personal development. Imagine who you're going to be in 3 months from now. Imagine who you're going to be next December. It's like fucking mind blowing. Like it's just so cool.
That's what I did last night on the full moon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, what is the highest version of myself? Who is she?
Mm,
And what parts of me do I want to change? And what do I want to let go of? And I'm like, I'm just gonna go all in
go all in.
with everything.
Yeah, we should do an episode on like we'll figure it out on just like how to help people like really
Be authentic.
be authentic, unlock their highest version,
Yeah.
and how to like live their dream path,
Yeah.
for
That would
them.
be great.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think
That's
that
a
would
plan.
be really good for actually next week, and we can
Yeah.
save our guest for the following week. We can
Yeah.
like all just save it.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
Amazing. We love you
Amazing.
guys so much.
We
And
love you.
super long one today, but it's
It
authentic.
is what it is.
And yeah, it is what it is. And it was an authentic conversation. So I hope this gave you guys some clarity, and we will see you next week.